How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Phantoms from 1983, written by Dean Koontz. And overall, this was one that I was really excited to step into. Phantoms is one of Dean Koontz's most famous novels. It would eventually become a movie starring Ben Affleck, and I believe I heard it was one of the key inspirations for the Silent Hill video games. So yeah, I was really eager to get my hands on this, and it's a really fun story. It takes that whole haunted and abandoned town concept, the whole we walked into a town, everybody's missing, what happened here? That's an absolute classic idea, but then it kind of gets bigger, and I love how every so often this novel will take steps to kind of increase the scale, and by the end of it we really do get into epic horror. Overall, it's a really good, cool concept. When it's revealed what actually happened, it's super interesting, and a good sense of scale. So yeah, I really did enjoy this one. But what's it about? No major spoilers, but the base idea here is that you have two characters, Jenny and Lisa. Jenny is the local doctor for a ski resort town. The town's primarily busiest during ski season, but right now we're in the off season, so it's only a few hundred locals. And it's kind of a quiet, sleepy town anyway. But her sister Lisa, they're actually separated by quite a few years. She's only 14, meanwhile Jenny's actually a college graduate and is starting off in her early career. So they're sisters, but there is that time difference. They don't really know each other super well. But when Jenny and Lisa's mom passes away, it's up to Jenny to raise her younger sister. They go back to the town and they think it's going to be a quiet night of settling in when they find their housekeeper dead, and she's mysteriously bruised and bloated. Even though Jenny's a doctor, she can't figure out what happened to her. What's the cause of death? Was it murder via some strange poison? Was it some new pandemic they have to worry about? Or was it something even more bizarre? Well, they go over to the neighbors and they find more cases of this. More mysterious dead bodies, and it starts to get even stranger. Some of the dead bodies are in locked rooms. How did the assailants get to them? A lot of people are simply gone, and some people have been horribly murdered in gruesome ways. Top this all off with the fact that this is a close-knit community and Jenny knows all these people. It makes it even more gruesome. And we really get a lot of theorizing and analysis in this book, looking at the clues, speculating as to what might have happened. This person got off a few shots at their attacker, but I don't see any blood, but I also don't see the shells. And also, how could they even have gotten to a locked room? And also in all this puzzling, we get to talk about real-life historic missing cases, all the way back to Roanoke. We get cases of ghost ships like the Mary Celeste, and you get a bit of history in this book as well, which I thought was pretty nice. But there's so much of this early book that is going around from place to place, finding these gruesome discoveries and trying to theorize and trying to get more and more pieces. Well, eventually they do get a message out to the local police force, and they do two things. One is they send a group of men down to try to help her out, and two, they contact people higher up, and they hope to stay discreet, but send in the proper authorities. And that's where we see the book start to build up in its scale a little bit, but not lose what made it terrifying. They say, hey, we don't know if this is a pandemic, we really need to keep the town quarantined. So you can't leave, but at least you have some more people with you. And when we get additional characters, we also get to know them pretty well. We get Bryce, the main sheriff character, and he's recently dealing with the death of his wife in a car wreck, but also his son's in a coma, and he's beginning to question, would it be better if he just passed away? He's definitely at a dark point. And then you get Tal, and Tal's the tough guy character who will see something crazy and barely bat an eye at it. We also get other cops, like one who doesn't know if he's capable of killing something even in self-defense, and then cross that with like a classic anthology horror jerk. It's a really interesting group of characters, but it still keeps that exploration and puzzle piece feel that the first section of the book had. And then you get into kind of like the government handling things as they kind of pass the message through the right channels, try to get the right people in here, and start to contact a bunch of governors and scientists. And of course, how soon till the news leaks out. You still get that horror in isolation, but again, the scale gets bigger and bigger. But so does the horror. You start to get weird little things, a feeling of being watched, or maybe you try to reach out through the phone and you get a bunch of mysterious animal noises that start to shift through different species and eventually get to a bunch of humans screaming in terror. And that's just a random voice on the phone. What the heck is that about? But they do eventually see mysterious figures that they can't quite explain. I won't spoil exactly too many details about them, but as the title of the novel suggests, they start to call them phantoms. They're not 100% sure if they're really there or if they're going crazy. Maybe it's a hallucinogen, I don't know. But it was one that constantly throughout the early book I was wondering how we were going to explain it. Is it biological? Did a bunch of cult members kill these people? Is it something more spectacular? And it does answer the question again in pieces, again building up. And when you finally figure out what this thing is, it's actually a really interesting, super cool idea. And I don't want to say too much about what it is. I don't want to spoil anything, but I will say by the end of this book, it really does build up into what I call epic horror. And we really get to see the pure, unfathomable, horrific nature of this thing. But again, when you do find out how big and scary it is, there is always that trying to figure it out. There is always that planning. And the characters are put in a point where they really could give up, and a lot of people might, but that really isn't what they need to do. And I do love going through this. It does get really dark and brutal, and at points it does seem pretty near hopeless, but again, that's because we're building up to epic horror, and the idea of being trapped in this small, abandoned town, and at any point this thing could snatch you up. You don't know what it is, so you don't know how to stay safe from it. People are dying in locked rooms. Is there any hope? Yes, your brain. Figure it out. And overall, I really did like this one. I can see why it had such an impact. I can see why it's one of Dean Koontz's best, and I can definitely recommend it. I haven't actually seen the movie yet, but I look forward to checking that out really soon. I'm curious how they'll adapt it, especially those end bits there. But anyway, definitely recommend checking the book out. All that being said, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my books playlist. If you want to hear me talk about other books, feel free to click right there and see more. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Playlist here. Have a good day now.